The dojo was filled with laughter, the kind that carries arrogance behind it. The afternoon sun streamed through the high windows, casting warm beams across the polished wooden floor. It was sparring day, and the advanced students were pumped black. Belts tightening their GIs, instructors casually boasting about old matches, spectators lining the benches to watch. And then she walked in. A woman in her early 30s, wearing a loose-fitting hoodie over a plain pair of workout pants. No fancy gear, no belt of any color, not even a gym bag. Her shoes were practical, her hair tied back in a simple braid. Looked like someone who had just wandered in by mistake. "Are you here to watch your kid?" one of the students asked. Half-dashed smiling, she shook her head gently. "No, I signed up for the beginner trial." Snickers echoed around the room. Few glances were exchanged, some amused, some dismissive. One of the instructors, a tall man with a black belt wrapped tight around his waist, leaned on the front desk and chuckled. "You sure you want to be here, miss? This is not cardio kickboxing, I know," she said, quietly but firmly. "I came for the real thing." More laughter. Another student, a younger guy with too much ego and too little experience, nudged his friend. Maybe she watched Karate Kid last night. Still, she didn't flinch. She signed her name on the waiver, bowed politely at the edge of the mat, and waited for instructions. Fanfare, no defensiveness, just calm. But something about her silence made one of the instructors smirk. "All right," he said, stepping forward. "Let's give her a real welcome." He nodded to a black belt nearby. A muscular fighter with sharp eyes and a confident grin. It's a kind of man who lived for showdowns. Care to give her a light demo? There were murmurs from the crowd. Everyone expected a harmless little embarrassment, a quick takedown, a lesson in humility. But what they were about to witness was not that at all. The black belt stepped onto the mat with a cocky swagger, cracking his knuckles for effect. He bowed lazily, more out of habit than respect, and flashed her a grin that said, "This won't take long." She bowed back, deeper, more deliberate. Her posture still relaxed, but her eyes, those were different now. Calm, focused, not the eyes of someone intimidated by what was ahead. No panic, no hesitation, just silence and breath. The head instructor chuckled. "All right, light sparring. No need to go hard," he said, but everyone in the room knew that was just for show. They expected her to crumble within seconds. They circled. The black belt bounced on his heels, throwing in a few flashy warm-up kicks to get the audience hyped. She did not move much, just shifted her weight slightly, watching, reading. Then he lunged. It was fasta. Jab feint, followed by a sweeping low kick, meant to catch her off guard. The crowd leaned forward, ready for the takedown, but instead, the dojo fell silent. In one smooth motion, she pivoted. Her body dropped low, her left foot sliding behind his in perfect timing. And with a movement that was almost too fast to track, he was on the ground. Flat, hard, stunned. No one cheered. No one laughed. The black belt scrambled up, his face red. From the fall and from embarrassment. "Lucky slip," he muttered, trying to brush it off. But she did not even reply. They squared off again. This time, he charged harder, aiming for her shoulders with a rush that could knock over most amateurs. But again, she moved with quiet precision. A quick parry, a well-placed sidestep, and a subtle shift of balance thud. He landed face first this time. There was an audible gasp from the students. A senior brown belt whispered, "What style is that?" "She didn't even use strength," another murmured. "That was technique." Instructor crossed his arms, no longer smiling. The joke had turned into something else, something no one in the room had prepared for. She stepped back to the edge of the mat, waiting patiently, hands relaxed at her sides, still calm, still quiet, as if none of this surprised her, because, for her, it probably didn't. No one in the dojo moved. The once playful crowd had turned into silent observers, unsure whether they were witnessing luck or mastery. The black belt sat on the mat, wiping a small cut on his lip, his confidence clearly shaken, this time not as a janitor or a guest or an easy target, but as an equal. Or maybe something more. "Who taught you to move like that?" he asked, breathless, half laughing, half searching for dignity. She did not answer, just offered a soft nod and waited. "Again," he said. The instructor narrowed his eyes. "No, switch opponents," he ordered, trying to take back control. "Let's make it interesting." A taller man stepped forward, another black belt, younger, stronger, and far more serious. He bowed without a smirk. This time the fight began without a warm-up. He threw a rapid series of strikes, sharp, tight, calculated. She deflected them with smooth redirections, almost like water bending around stone. No wasted movement. No panic then. Mid-combo, She dropped her weight and delivered a single palm. Strike to his chest. Not aggressive, not theatrical, but with the kind of control that made him stagger back 3 steps. Gasping, the room was dead silent again. The instructor stepped forward, his face unreadable. "Enough," he said, but no one moved, because something deeper was happening. People began to whisper, "She's trained. That wasn't luck. She's using something traditional." Older woman who had offered her water earlier was the first to speak up. "That's not sport karate. That's old style, maybe from China or Okinawa." The head instructor finally spoke with measured words. "You do not just walk into my dojo and humiliate my students." She looked him straight in the eyes and replied, "I did not come to fight. You brought me here." Those few words sent a chill through the room. Not angry, not proud. "It's true." The instructor took a breath. "Where did you train?" "My grandfather," she replied quietly. "In the mountains." That answer could have sounded like a cliché, but no one laughed. Not this time, because they had seen it now. The way she moved, the way she waited, the way she absorbed everything and gave back only what was necessary. The head instructor nodded slowly, and for the first time, there was something new in his eyes. Respect. Asterisk word traveled fast by the end of the week. A video clip had leaked just 30 seconds of her first takedown. No name, no backstory, just the image of a modest woman, effortlessly disarming a man twice her size. It spread like wildfire. In martial arts circles, in private message threads, in whispers between instructors who rarely got rattled. Some called it staged. Others said it was proof that true martial skill still existed somewhere. It's hidden from commercial schools and tournaments. Back at the dojo, the energy had shifted completely. The students now bowed deeper when she passed. They no longer laughed behind her back. They watched, closely, respectfully. The instructor had not tried to invite her back. He did not need to. She returned on her own terms. This time, she brought her grandfather's tattered journal. Inside were sketches of stances, meditations on breath and balance, notations in faded ink beside tiny drawings of figures frozen mid-strike. The head instructor asked if he could study it. She nodded. Quietly, without fanfare, she began to teach. Not by setting up a class, but by standing beside students, struggling with their footwork, and gently guiding them. By showing them how to breathe before a strike, not just how to throw it. By reminding them that mastery was not about domination, but about stillness, awareness, and control. People started arriving early just to catch her warming up. They watched her stretch, move through slow, precise kata with a grace that no belt or trophy could measure. The dojo grew quieter during her movements, something sacred unfolding in silence. One day, senior instructor pulled the head teacher aside. "You know who she is, don't you?" he asked. The head instructor nodded faintly. "I looked into it, and what he found was extraordinary. Years ago, she had been a rising prodigy in a forgotten martial arts lineage one rarely taught, outside ancient temples in Southeast Asia. But after her grandfather's passing, she vanished from the competitive circuit. No school, no dojo, no online profile, just silence. As if she had taken everything he taught her and folded it away into her life. Until now, and now, people were beginning to understand she had not come to fight. She had come to remember, and, in doing so, she was awakening something the modern world had almost lost. That evening, the dojo was packed. Word had spread beyond the local martial arts community. A few instructors from rival schools appeared discreetly in the back row. 2 black belts from a national tournament team sat cross-legged, eyes fixed forward. Even a retired sensei in early 80 came and took a silent place near the front. No one spoke much. They all came for one reason, to witness her. The head instructor stepped forward and addressed the room tonight. Instead of our usual demonstration, we are offering the floor to someone who reminded us what martial arts truly mean. Not ego, not flash, but balance, clarity, and strength that comes from within. Then he stepped aside. She stood at the edge of the mat in her plain training clothes. No black belt, no stripes, no patches, just presence. Her eyes scanned the room not with challenge, but with stillness. Then, slowly, she moved. She began with a simple kata. Fluid, precise, almost slow motion, but every gesture, every shift in weight, every extension of the hand, carried intent. The audience watched in utter silence, the kind born from reverence. Not boredom. Then came the moment no one expected. The same black belt from that humiliating night, now pale and visibly humbled, stepped forward, bowed deeply and asked, "May A challenge, but this time, laced with respect. She nodded gently. They circled. The dojo was breathless. He lunged forward with a classic sweep. She did not resist. She flowed. His momentum met her silence, and in a blink, he was on the mat. Again, cleanly, effortlessly. This time, he rolled up grinning. You are something else, he whispered, breathless. She offered her hand, helped him up, then bowed. The room erupted in applause, but it was not for victory. It was for grace, for humility, for the woman who had entered this space as a joke, and now stood at its center, not as a challenger, but as a reminder of everything the art had once stood for, and for the first time in years. The head instructor's eyes brimmed with tears, because he understood now. The real master had never left the mountain. She had simply walked among them quietly, until they were ready to see her. Months later, a new plaque was mounted on the dojo wall. It did not bear her name, not because they did not want to honor her, but because she had asked them not to. Instead, it bore a simple phrase, true. Strength is silent. The dojo changed after that night. The laughter that once echoed before warm-ups became quieter, more respectful. Beginners were no longer mocked for slow kicks or trembling hands. Instead, they were encouraged with patience, with kindness. The instructors began reviewing old principles, not for belt promotions, but to relearn the purpose behind every movement. And once a week, without fail, she returned not to compete, not to demonstrate, but to sweep the floors, refill the water tank, and observe from the corner. She declined offers to teach, to be called master, or to lead. She simply helped, quietly, graciously, like before. But everyone knew she was the strongest presence in the room. One afternoon, a teenage girl approached her during cleanup. Miss, do you think I could ever be strong like that? She paused, then knelt down, meeting the girl's eyes. You already are, she said. Strength is not about defeating others. It is about knowing when not to. It is about standing still, even when you are laughed at. It is about being patient until the world catches up. The girl nodded slowly, her eyes lighting up with the quiet fire of recognition in the back. The instructors watched and smiled, because what they witnessed that day was more powerful than any demonstration, a passing of something sacred, not a title, not a technique, but a legacy, one that would ripple through generations, not because of belts or medals, or trophies, but because a quiet woman, once mocked, had shown them what real mastery looks like, and it changed everything forever.